Welcome back to now our fourth video in the series of understanding your new Google Analytics account. We're actually going to get into one of the most important ones, and probably the one that you're actually installing the Google Analytics to begin with. It's actually going to be your top pages. So for this one here, if you actually look under your site content, and right below the site content, you're going to look at the overview page. Under the overview, this is going to show you your top ranking pages. Now, more than likely, this is going to be your blog post pages. Now, if you're not blogging, you will have a sprinkle of different material, but ideally, you will want to look at blogging as the primary force of bringing traffic onto your website. So if you're not seeing it, there's a trend going on here. So remember, blogging is going to be a very important way that you're going to identify and be able to connect with your material. You're going to be able to connect with your customer base. You're going to give them all the information that they need. And in those processes, you're going to be able to put your offers in very tactical places. There's going to be a very big advanced technique that we're going to talk about a little bit later on that's going to talk about anchor text, and it's going to be interlinking within your pages. So the first thing that I really wanted to address is just going to be which are your top pages. So we'll talk about the bounce rate in regards to those pages as well in a moment. But the top pages are going to be the biggest amount of traffic you're getting. You also can affect the date range on that same upper right hand corner and see the overall traffic of how they're interacting with each individual pages. Now, where's the strategy? The strategy comes in that if your top pages, you really want to deep dive into what makes them your top pages to begin with. Is it the subject matter? Is it the type of content that you have? Videos, GIFs, memes. We're really big on GIFs. If you haven't noticed by now, I love placing those in there because they're really cool and it's a good way of entertaining your customers as they start reading your content. So now what you want to look at is that what is the format that made that blog so popular? So if it's the content, then you want to double down. Let's put more content in that. Now, if it's going to be the type of format, then you want to duplicate that same format because that's going to be your niche. That's going to be what's really going to drive home with your customers. So as you start to investigate a little bit further, we now know the type of content, we know the type of people that are interacting. Let's talk about the bounce rate and those top pages. So we're going to double down and bring it back to bounce rate. So if you see that your bounce rate decreases on certain posts and actually increases on other ones, you know something went wrong. Was it the readability? Remember, we talked about that before. Was it the readability in the way that the content? Was it way too highbrow? Was it too bloated? Was it too big when it comes to your sentences and your paragraphs? I don't know. We can check that out. Was it the pictures weren't loading? Were they not optimized for the internet? So that's one thing you want to consider as well. So there's a lot of plugins if you're using a WordPress plugin that's going to help optimize your picture size. And I believe EWW Optimize is going to be a real good one. It's free and it actually helps quite a bit if you actually have a WordPress page. So those are some of the things that I really want you to look at. Now you're going to look at what your entrance values, your bounce rate, and your exit values. The entrance and the exit honestly aren't really all that important, at least in my eyes, but the entrance should show, did they actually enter first in that page? Did they land on that page from the search engines or wherever they found you? Is that the first page that they saw? And then the exit, is that the page that they exited from? So what you kind of want them is to bounce around in between a bunch of different pages. You're wanting to consume as much information, investigate as much as you can. So in our last video, we talked about giving a consensus of the content that you're producing. So the important part of that is try to make a theme, or at least blocks of theme, where people are actually going to be looking for one specific subject. We'll try to deep dive into a lot of your other content because you're able to place multiple offers and be able to increase the type of conversions that you're having with those same customers. So the last little bit that I wanted to talk about is going to be your site speed. You don't have to worry about spending money and looking at other services to help increase your site speed, or at least investigate what your speed is right now. Your new Google Analytics account does that for you. So if you go a little further down, it's actually going to show you a little site speed option. So under that site speed, what's going to be important is it's going to show you again all your top pages. And I believe the top 10 is going to be the first ones that are going to come up. Over to the right, you're going to see either 100%, 90%, 80%, and then a little green bar or yellow or red. Now, the important part of that is that you want that to be green all the way across. So what does that mean? Your theme may be a little bit too bloated. It means that it's processing way too long. It's putting too much of a strain on mobile phones, and you're not getting the people that you want to stay on your website. Or either you're placing pictures that are too large. If you pull pictures from the internet or from free photo sites, those pictures actually need to be condensed. So that plugin that I spoke about earlier, I would really recommend you use that to place all your pictures through, because it's going to take up way too much resources and people are going to leave. They're not going to stick around to try to consume the rest of your offer. So those are some of the things that you're going to see. Again, in the blog post, we're going to go into a little more detail, and I would highly recommend you looking through the material, because it's going to give you also some strategies on how to increase both your top pages as well as your site speed. So as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to help you. Give me a shout or give me a call if you need anything, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.